BioCurious. Hackerspace for biotech. Hey, this place looks great, doesn't it?
Let's check it out.
This looks like some sort of high-tech little hop and hub. So here we are at BioCurious.
Yes.
So BioCurious, I understand, is a DIY bio. Tell us about it.
So we are a community lab space. We were one of the first that ever opened in the world. We opened over 6.5 years ago, and we're a place where people can come work on biology, science, engineering, and as we like to say, experiment with their friends.
And why?
Why? Because it's an unmet need in the world. So we have the tagline, we want to democratize biology. Mm-hmm. So there's a real need that the maker movement has been addressing for over a decade to give people access to tools, machines, and be able to make things. Mm-hmm. There's an even more urgent need for this for biology. So if you want to do biology right now, it's very institutionalized. Mm-hmm. There are two places you can work on biology. You're either working in a university, which is an institution, mm-hmm. or you're working generally in a pharma company, which is also an institution. Mm-hmm. This lets anybody who would like to work on science have a place for a relatively low monthly membership fee that they can come work on science. And in addition, we have community projects anyone can join in on for free, and we offer classes and training.
And when you say a relatively low monthly fee?
Membership is $100 a month.
$100 a month?
$50 a month for students.
It's like so you could have mobile telephone bills, right?
Exactly. So we would like to equate it to a gym membership fee.
Even cheaper than like renting a desk.
Yes.
Like a co-working
exactly.
And yet you have access to what?
We can take you through the lab and show you what you've got.
Let's have a look.
Yeah. So this is our new space. This is our classroom area right here. Yeah. And this is where we have classes, events, community projects. We let people get together. Yeah. We have 6 community projects going on at any one time. Yeah. And then we try to do classes weekly.
Those kind of classes would be for who? What level?
We tend to go from junior high on up.
Yeah.
So we've got everything from biology classes for how to do things like gel electrophoresis and make competent cells for junior high school and high school kids, all the way through advanced lab techniques and how to use different equipment in the laboratory for anybody who wants to try this out.
Now you had me at gel electrophoresis. It sounds like it's above people's heads.
It does sound like it's above people's heads, however...
Especially for junior high people.
Not at all. We've had 4th graders taking that class, and you know, we may be a little self-selecting being in Silicon Valley, but we've had these kids really understanding the material and able to do the techniques. Yeah. And the sad thing is, even in the Valley, the schools aren't keeping up and able to offer this kind of thing.
Right.
So it's nice that we can have kids-only classes, because we do like to keep them together. Yeah. But for adults who want to jump into this field, whether they're a software engineer, a teacher, a lawyer, anybody else who wants to learn about biotech can come. Yeah. They can learn the theory, or they can actually learn the actual lab skills.
And the lab skills actually sort of so reinforce those theories.
Exactly. We're very, very hands-on here. That's the whole point, is to give them a place where you're not just reading it out of a book or watching a YouTube video. You're actually picking up a pipette and learning how to use it and learning what it means.
Yeah.
Our lab is a BSL-1 lab.
Yeah.
So that means that we don't do any mammalian work here.
Biosafety level 1.
Biosafety level 1. We do that to keep ourselves and the community a little bit safer.
Yeah.
And so far that has been adequate to meet the needs of what we want to do. And it still allows us to have a lot of equipment here.
Yeah.
This is our new lab. We're still getting set up. That's some of the microscopy that we have.
Microscopy?
Microscopy.
Just means microscopes. Right?
Yes.
I'm the translator.
One thing to note is that almost everything from the tables to the equipment has been donated over the course of the last 6 years.
Yeah, that's great.
Because we're a nonprofit with no employees.
No employees.
No employees. We're all volunteer organizations.
It's amazing.
Science is very important to us, and making science accessible to the public is even more important.
Yeah, that's quite a mission.
It is.
What about the classes?
The classes are also volunteer run.
Yeah.
Classes we do charge a fee for, and that's how we pay the rent and things like that.
Absolutely.
So if you come here, one of the things you'll notice, and this is pretty common with biology, is one of the things you need is a lot of freezers and fridge space.
Yeah.
So we do have a lot of that here. These are minus 80 freezers. This lets us store cells down for a long period of time.
Minus 86 Celsius, that's like a minus 120 or something Fahrenheit.
This is probably one of the most valuable pieces of equipment in the lab.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate enough to get several, so we have one we keep on, we have a backup. And we actually have an extra one over here, which we'll have to find a home for, because we don't have enough floor space for it.
Maybe IndieBio will have a deal. You can cut a deal with IndieBio maybe.
Yeah. Right here we've got our PCR machines. These are for, I like to call it Xeroxing DNA. It lets you copy DNA. Mm-hmm. We've got regular PCR, we've got qPCR, we've got a really nice little Denovic spectrophotometer here that is one of the most useful pieces of equipment in our lab. just a wonderful piece of equipment that we use all the time. We have a lot of incubators. Specifically, we work a lot with yeast and with E. coli. So we've got one incubator just for yeast, one just for E. coli work. Centrifuges for spinning down samples, plate readers for being able to actually see what's on an individual plate, how many cells are on it. And the biggest use of a lab like this for the community is that it's very difficult for anyone to get reagents and supplies sent to their house. Companies that sell all of the reagents that you would need to work with this kind of experiments, almost all of them, they will not ship to a home address. They'll only ship to a registered lab. So because we're a registered lab, we actually can get things and have supplies on hand and allow our members to place orders. So right now, primarily our members are working with yeast, E. coli, transgenic plants. That means they're putting genes into plants. But no mammalian cell work. Now, with this new lab that we just opened up, we are adding something we've never had before, and that's a tissue culture lab.
That's a BSL-2, isn't it?
You'd think so. So I will show you where it's going to be.
Yeah.
This is going to be our tissue culture lab.
Yeah.
There are strains of BSL-1
Yeah.
tissue cultures.
Yeah, okay.
So there's mammalian strains that you can use that are certified for BSL-1.
BSL being biosafety level.
Biosafety level 1, so they've been authorized. We do still have to keep them separate for several reasons, and it's going to be very limited access, but we are going to be able to offer that service now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something that has been in very high demand,
Yeah.
but we've never had the space to do it. So
Yeah.
this will have its own hood, incubator, fridge, freezer, etc.
It's wonderful that you guys have all this gear donated. It's just...
Yeah, we have so much gear, we don't even know where to put it all. Right now in this expanded space, we have the availability for startups.
Yeah.
So we average at any one time 6 startups here, and we're hoping to expand that.
Yeah.
And we are going to have some of the benches available for rent, so you can rent individual benches.
Yeah.
We have 3 offices, so if people want private offices, we're going to have that as an option for the first time. For high school students who want to come in, for the college students, for the retirees, for anyone else who's just curious, we want to be able to still be a mixed-use lab.
Absolutely.
Because we find that there's a lot of creativity that happens when you get people with mixed backgrounds together doing science.
So what's the kind of work that you think is enabled by people coming here?
Let me give you a few examples. One of our members is doing electrophysiology work. He's actually driving Lyft and DoorDash to pay for doing his science.
Wow.
He has an idea. It's going to take him probably, he estimates, about a year to show that it's working. And he can do this at this price point in this area. And he actually moved to the Bay Area just for our lab.
Wow.
Because he heard about us and he figured it would actually help him. And once he's got some basic proof of theory, he can start applying for some NSF and some other grants. We've had several people who've done that where they've got a theory and they need a place to work out of.
Yeah.
And they're not associated with a university, and otherwise they're just out of luck. There's no place for them to go.
Yeah.
On the high school level, our high school students have done a lot here. One of our students from last year took first place at Synopsis, which is the Bay Area Science Fair.
Yeah.
He went to the state competition with that and placed very, very well.
Yeah.
And he has taught classes here at 17.
Yeah.
He's one of our instructors.
Yeah.
And he has turned that into a research project which is now funded, which VCs are kind of interested in. It's a novel way to use CRISPR to get new things into cells. We've had absolutely phenomenal kids come through here, and we've built a community here that is, you know, I think there's a lot of hacker and makerspaces out there, but we've really focused on being family friendly, being kid friendly, being entrepreneur friendly. And what we're seeing is that the momentum for spaces like this is picking up because people are seeing that they can be successful, that they do fulfill a need, and that it's repeatable. What's interesting to me is when we get people in here who are industry scientists, who think about science and think about biology a certain way, and when they see how we're doing it, it actually makes them rethink things. And so we've actually had several people who have switched careers because they've started hanging out here and they suddenly start thinking beyond the institutionalized walls for how you solve problems or what you can do with your career.
Yeah, I think the remarkable thing is sort of the nonprofit aspect of this. I mean, it feels like, you know, was the Home Brewers Club or whatever.
Yeah, it's actually like the computer clubs. So that's what we think of it as.
They were back in the day.
Back in the 70s, back in the 80s, when
70s,
there were the computer clubs. That's what we're looking at it as. It's the microbiology clubs.
It's the start of a movement.
Yeah.
That's a great sort of startup mentality. Thanks so much for spending the time.
Thank you.
Oh wow, the OUS is excellent.
Right, exactly. It's like it looks so good there.
I used the roller for this.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You know what though? Here's the thing.
Ball
I'm
control.
buying a sign for this. I just haven't had a chance to order it. So for the next couple weeks till I get a sign in,
Okay.
this will do.
I have to say, the kerning in between your U and your O versus your U and your C is different.
Ah, yes. You know, this whole thing about citizen science, you just created a new thing, citizen signage.